Hi Pisces, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your August 2022 horoscope. My name is Cailin and today I'm going to be covering the major transits for the month ahead using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. I highly recommend that you watch your ascendant sign horoscope first and foremost because it will be the most accurate for you overall, generally speaking. Having said that, if you're a Pisces sun, you'll find that this horoscope relates to your career and your life goals, whereas you Pisces moon individuals will find that this horoscope relates to you on an emotional level and with respect to your property and living circumstances, as well as your relationships. So let's begin with the first transit for the month. On the 1st or 2nd of August, depending where you live in the world, Mars will form a conjunction with Uranus in Taurus at 18 degrees, and this will be in your 3rd house. Now, at the end of July, I covered the Uranus North Node and Mars conjunction, which also took place at 18 degrees in your 3rd house. But at that point in time, Mars was at 17 degrees. So now Mars has caught up to Uranus. So, what I'm going to discuss for your August horoscope will be a continuation from that. And I would also recommend that you go back and watch your July horoscope for the last 5 or 10 minutes because I cover the transit in explicit detail. So, with Mars conjunct Uranus in your 3rd house, essentially this indicates that you can have a sudden brainwave or download of information which is connected to some sort of business idea or an idea for a communications piece, or maybe writing a book, or this could be some sort of idea for a technological innovation or something scientific in nature. And this could involve developing a new app, a website, or putting together a series of videos. So maybe you're putting together a short course, maybe you want to do something educational in nature. And essentially, Mars and Uranus are both interested in pioneering and experimenting. So this can see you having very progressive ideas. Now, the energy of Uranus is that it is very unpredictable, and also it can indicate some sort of shocking turn of events. So, with this occurring in your 3rd house, there may be a very surprising or unexpected conversation that you have with someone in your life. Now, because this is in your 3rd house, it could be with a friend, a co-worker, or perhaps a sibling or a relative. Or you may just discover some sort of hidden information about one of these individuals. And I'm saying that because Uranus rules over the 12th house, which represents information which is hidden. Now, I just want to make a note to be careful on the roads around the 1st or the 2nd of August. Actually, I'm going to extend that a bit further. From the end of July through till the first few days of August, I would be really careful on the roads, but especially around the 1st or the 2nd. And that involves traveling by car and public transport and all the rest of it. So that is because Mars and Uranus are both connected to accidents in astrology. And having said that, this conjunction is making a sextile to your ascendant or to you as a Pisces. So that is a harmonious aspect, but Mars conjunct Uranus can be kind of a dicey conjunction. Now, some of you may decide that you want to wipe the slate clean when it comes to how you are approaching doing business with other people, your communication style, perhaps even your friendship circle, your clientele. So, the people that you do business with and the people that you work with. And I'm saying this because Uranus can basically represent divorce, and Mars can have the energy of cutting something out of your life. So there is a potential for an explosive argument or disagreement with a friend, a coworker, or a family member. It doesn't need to spell the end of that relationship, but just know that around early August, if not the end of July, tensions can be running pretty high. So just be mindful of that during your daily communications. On a positive note, this can see you having a huge mentality shift or perspective shift, which snaps you out of some sort of self sabotaging behavior that you've been exhibiting, especially if it is connected to finances and resources, given that Mars rules over your second house. And the reason I'm talking about self sabotaging behavior is because Uranus rules over your 12th house, and the 12th house is connected to self-sabotaging behavior, and sometimes it's called the house of self-undoing. I don't really like that term. That's probably because I have my sun and Mercury in the 12th house in whole sign. Nevertheless, this is positive in that you can shift out of a glass half empty mindset and shift into one which is more positive and conducive to you being able to take action and to act on your ideas. Now, on the 4th of August, Mercury is going to enter Virgo, which means it will be transiting your 7th house, and it will be there for 3 weeks until the 25th of August. Normally, I don't mention Mercury transits, and that is only because Mercury moves so quickly. And, by the time you've mentioned the Mercury transit, it's nearly over. So the reason I'm mentioning it today is because Mercury is exalted in the sign of Virgo, and it also rules over the sign of Virgo. So what that means is Mercury is very powerful during this period of time. With Mercury transiting your 7th house, this is a really good time for you to engage in important conversations, especially if these are ones which require you to negotiate with another person or to get on the same page or achieve some sort of harmony and balance within a relationship. And also, Mercury rules over paperwork and documentation. And the 7th house is a business house in astrology. So not only is it a good time for important conversations, it's also a good time to go through paperwork if you need to. Maybe you're serving someone with papers, or maybe you and another person need to review certain documents or sign certain documents. So it is a good time to sign contracts, especially because Mercury is direct. Bear in mind that it will be going retrograde next month in September. So, in terms of who you could be having these conversations with Mercury ruling over your 4th house, this could be with family members, parents, flatmates, anyone that you live with, maybe your tenants if you need to have a frank conversation with one of your tenants. And also, because Mercury rules over your 7th house, maybe you're wanting to have an important conversation with your significant other or with your spouse or with a business partner. Or on a different note, if you want to do like an email blast or send out a newsletter to your clients, this would also be a good time to do so. And some of you may be talking to your significant other about taking the next step and moving in together, or buying a property together, or starting a family together, especially because Mercury rules over your 4th house. During this 3-week period of time, you may be meeting new friends, new clients, making new business connections. Essentially, there is a big emphasis on your one-to-one relationships. And lastly, actually, 2 more things. One, you could be buying a property, and I really hope that that's the case for me and my husband, because he's a Pisces rising. So I'm looking at this being like, let this be us. On a different note, you may be engaging the services of a consultant, because the 7th house rules over consulting. And this could be related to property as well. Maybe a property manager or real estate agent. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but that is a potential. Now, on the 11th of August, Venus is going to enter the sign of Leo, which means it will be transiting your 6th house, and it will be there until the 5th of September. Wherever Venus goes, this indicates that that area of life can go smoothly. We can enjoy whatever that house rules over, or we can receive some sort of help or assistance in that department. Now, the 6th house in astrology is connected to health, daily habits and routines, duties and responsibilities, your work, as well as any kind of conflictual situation that you may be in. So, on one level, on the health front, this can see you experiencing an improvement in your health. Maybe you're simply having an easier time when it comes to being healthier in general, or if you have an existing health issue or ailment, this can be resolved or it can be managed to an extent. So, you're not in peak crisis mode. Maybe things are just easing off in that department. And on a different note, you could just be achieving more of a balance when it comes to the work life balance, as they say. On a different note, you could be having a better relationship with technology. I know that sounds weird, but Venus rules over your 3rd house, and the 3rd house is connected to communications as well as technology. So maybe you'll just be spending less time on your phone, spending less time on your computer. And Venus represents what we are spending money on. So, with Venus through the 6th house, you may be buying things which are related to your health or spending money on going to a doctor or consulting a specialist. You may be spending money on things for the office. And on a different note, this can see you receiving assistance or help with your day to day duties and responsibilities. And for some of you, this could simply be someone accompanying you while you're running errands, which is something that I personally hate. I love to run errands by myself. Um, that's neither here nor there. But on a different note, someone can help you with your workload, whether this is in your actual day to day job or they're just, lifting some of the burden off of you and helping you out in in a particular way. Now, because the 6th house is connected to work, your work life can improve. Maybe your boss is giving you less work. Maybe you are um, enjoying working in a small team or with other people, especially because Venus rules over your 3rd house. And maybe you're just enjoying banter and your relationships with your coworkers in the office. Now, on the 18th of August, Venus in Leo in your 6th house will make a trine to Jupiter in Aries in your 2nd house at 8 degrees. And Jupiter is your ruling planet. So it's always important to pay attention to whatever Jupiter is doing in terms of transits, and Jupiter will be retrograde. So Venus and Jupiter are considered to be the lesser benefic and the greater benefic in astrology, respectively. So they bring blessings, good fortune, wealth, abundance, and they are both associated with money and resources or finances and wealth. So they do have different jurisdictions that they rule over. They don't share all the same responsibilities, if you will, in astrology. Venus is more like um, your personal finances, so like money in the bank, and Jupiter is connected to wealth and abundance and prosperity. Nevertheless, when these two planets get together, they can bestow some kind of blessing on you when they are in a trine. So we're combining what the 2nd house rules over, which is finances and resources and valuables and possessions, together with what the 6th house rules over, which is connected to debts, loans, work, health, and like I said before, your day-to-day responsibilities. So there may be some sort of like financial, what's the word? Penalty that you don't have to pay. So maybe you got like a parking ticket and this can be waived, or someone can pay off let's just use the example of a parking ticket for you, or a debt or a loan. And some of you may be receiving the green light when it comes to obtaining a loan. So maybe this is some form of approval that you've been seeking in a financial sense. And this could be connected to a business loan, especially because Venus rules over your third house, or it could be connected to an investment, given that Venus rules over your eighth house. Now, because we are incorporating the sixth house, which is work, and Jupiter rules over your 10th house, which represents your career. Some of you may receive an increase in your salary, or your work could gift you some sort of resource. So maybe you're receiving shares in the company, or somehow your personal resources increase, and this can be thanks to your workplace benefits. Now, on a different note, this can see you improving your daily habits when it comes to food and health. So, the second house in astrology is connected to food, as is Venus. And the second house also rules over the mouth in general. So, this can see you overcoming a smoking addiction, especially because Venus rules over the eighth house, which is connected to addictions. Or it could be you overcoming a food addiction, or trigger warning, an eating disorder. Sorry, it was a bit late for my trigger warning there. In any case, this is a very positive transit. The impact will only last for, 3-4 days, because Venus moves pretty quickly, but it will be exact on the 18th of August. And on the 20th of August, Mars is going to enter the sign of Gemini, which means it will be transiting your fourth house. Usually, Mars would only spend about 7 or so weeks, give or take, in one sign. But this time around, Mars is going to spend 7 months in your fourth house. And that is because Mars will be having a retrograde cycle, which will take place between the end of October and the 12th of January. So, whatever you initiate between the 20th of August and the end of October, you will then be dealing with it, for want of a better term, during the retrograde period, and you can see the results come to fruition somewhere between the middle of January, if not the end of March. So, with Mars transiting your fourth house, this is very much connected to your home life and your property and living circumstances, all the above. And I'm going to run through a few different ways that this can work out for you. And just remember that the process is going to take a few months. So this is not going to happen overnight. But once again, what you're doing around this time, around the 20th of August, will be a running theme for you over the next few months. So, with respect to leasing, you may be looking to break a lease. You may be looking to sign on a new lease. You may be searching for a place to live, even if you're not, signing any contracts during this period of time. Mars, it rules over hunting, so you can be on the property hunt, so to speak. And some of you may be looking for the perfect flatmate to move in with you, or you may be looking for the perfect set of housemates that you want to move in with. Obviously, you can play around with that in a number of different ways. And the same can be said for buying and selling. You may go on the property hunt or search to buy a property. And this could actually be an overseas property, doesn't have to be, but I'm mentioning this because Mars rules over your ninth house, which is connected to travel and the international market. So again, you could be buying a property, could be where you are in the country that you are, or it could be overseas, and some of you may be initiating the selling process. And I can really see how that would take several months, especially if you're having to clean up the house, do some renovations, and get it ready. On a different note, you may be building a property, and that is because Mars is connected to construction and engineering. And like I said, you could just be renovating a property, even if you're not relocating. You could be fixing things up around the place. And some of you may be building a fence. Yes, Saturn is connected to boundaries, but Mars is about um, protecting what's yours, especially when Mars is in the fourth house. This could see you um, doing whatever you need to do to protect the perimeter of your property. Now, some of you may embark on the process of pursuing citizenship in a foreign country, and that is because Mars rules over the fourth house, which is where Mars is in the fourth house, which is where you live, and it rules over the ninth house, which again represents travel and the international market. Now, in terms of protecting your property, absolute worst case scenario is Mars can represent there being like a fire in your property or a break-in or a burglary. So just make sure that you're securing your belongings. And I don't want you guys to freak out. My husband is a Pisces rising, so that means that he's going to experience this transit, and by default, so am I. I'm not concerned about this transit. Sometimes you may need to break into your own home. That happened to me once. I mentioned this in a reading last month. But like I said, you just want to make sure that your property is really secure, that you're locking your doors, and some of you may get locked out of your own home. So make sure you have given a spare key to someone that you trust. And even though this transit will last 7 months, some of these things may take place around the 20th of August. But then some of the other things I'm saying could have this like more drawn out, longer impact. So, on a different note, on the family front, this can see you wanting to learn more about your family, about your lineage, your heritage, your ancestry. And some of you may start trying to start a family or to expand your family further. Absolute worst case scenario is that you may be fighting with your family or people that you live with, or you may be um, bringing legal proceedings against a family member. And I'm saying that because Mars was over the ninth house. Just remember that this is a general reading. So, take what I'm saying and apply it to your own personal situation as you see fit. Ultimately, it is a very exciting time with respect to your living circumstances and your family life, especially if you've wanted to make some significant changes for a really long time. Just to give you a personal example, my husband and I have been looking to buy a property for over 2 years now, over 2.5 years actually. So I'm looking at this transit being like, this could be us. This could be it. So, moving along to the last transit for the month, on the 24th of August, Uranus is going to station retrograde in Taurus in your third house at 18 degrees. So, again, we're seeing that 18th degree in Taurus being activated here. The previous time it was activated was the Mars and Uranus conjunction on the 1st of August. And the time before that was the 31st of July when it was Uranus and the North Node. So whatever was taking place around the end of July / the beginning of August, you're going to be revisiting this now while Uranus is retrograde. And Uranus spends about 5.5 months being retrograde every year, so it's not necessarily a big deal. But as you know, I like to mention when planets change direction. So with Uranus being retrograde in your third house, this can see you taking that download of information that you had at the beginning of the month, and now you're working with it. You're working with this idea, implementing it, integrating it into what you want to see. So, just to recap, that could be with respect to a communications project, educating yourself about something. Maybe you're forming a small team, and you and these other people want to work on a business idea together. Some other things I don't think I mentioned is that you may be starting a new social media platform or page. Maybe you're going to be starting up a YouTube channel, or maybe you'll be banding together to launch a podcast. Now, like I said at the beginning of the month, you may decide who you do and don't want to be friends with, and who you do and don't want to do business with. So during this retrograde period, this is when you may be, backing out of certain contracts. Maybe you need to break free of a number of different contracts and obligations that you have to other people. And maybe you just don't even want to be a part of a certain friendship group anymore. In any case, uh, this can see you having that mentality shift and that perspective shift. And now this is going to help you to improve a number of different areas of your life, because Uranus will have brought through that eureka moment or that epiphany for you. And so, Pisces, that's all I have for you for August 2022. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give this video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Enjoy your month ahead, and I will see you guys in September.